Hey, train tubers. Hey, welcome back to BAC 5. David. Hey, this is part 2 of my Helix, 9-level Helix that I'm going to show you. Not going to run any trains. I'm going to do that in part 3. I'll just kind of go over the inside of my Helix. I already showed you this on part 1, how I designed it on paper. And, okay, let's go inside the Helix and I'll show you some of the things I did right, and some of the things I kind of messed up on. Okay, here we go. Here's a shot of the inside of the Helix. I'm going to crawl in there. I'm on the outside right now, so I'll crawl in there and kind of show you a little bit more. But that's a shot of the 9 different levels up to the top side. So here's a shot of the template that I use. Is 1/3 of a circle. Show you some measurements on it too. Yeah, I still got my original template. I actually have 3 more pieces. My intent was to build it 10 levels, but I opted, I shortened it to just 9 levels, so I got 3 pieces left over. So here's some measurements here. Yeah, there's my Kentway. So inside raise 26, and the outside was at 33.5. I wish I had gone to 26, maybe a 25-inch radius on here. And I'll show you why up in the Helix here. So inside, like I mentioned, I wish I went a little bit, had a little bit more here. Just in the event, you know, I have, every once in a while I do have a derailment. It's pretty rare. You know, I've had this for 12 years, so I kind of worked out all the bugs over the first year or two. But every once in a while I'll have a, you know, streamline effect where I try to run too many cars, even though I've got restrictions, but sometimes I still try to see how many more I can run. Okay, getting into all different levels. So the first level is 3/4 inch plywood all the way around, and then it ends right here. MDF, I think I mentioned, well, I did put in the description part 1. I used MDF. I'm not sure if that'd be the best thing to use in higher humidity climates. Depends on what climate you got, but it works where I'm at in Northern California. This is a clamp I used. I have a couple of them, and I just glued. I'll show you what I did glue and what I did not glue. So these blocks, all these blocks here, I staggered them because I thought, well, maybe if I ever needed to screw them in, but I don't need to screw them in. Not only do I not need to screw them in, is I didn't even glue them in. These are all just loose, so I can scoot them around, which is pretty strange. Everything keeps stacked up. So I've got 6 vertical supports. This is one of them. Now the next one I staggered, and these are all glued in. So every other vertical support is glued. So I got 6 vertical. So 3 of the vertical support blocks are all glued in. And as you can kind of see, this is where I messed up. I got that first level down. And one kind of neat thing that I worked out is came up with this idea is, you know, you can't really just bend 3/4 inch plywood, bend it up. So I put cuts about every 5 inches. Cut, you kind of see the cuts. So I was able to bend it up and get that flex and get that that initial start of elevation, and that was real sweet. It started out a real nice smooth elevation upward. You can use that for even just track plan, not so much for Helix. That worked out great. So 3/4 inch all the way around, then of course the rest are MDF. So when I cut these, I had a plan to go upward. I gotta grab my little level here and I'll show you. So my level, I decided, well, obviously I wanted to keep everything plumb, which I did. So somehow I got off track. I wanted to keep all these joints, so every joint was even, straight up and down. So, because of 3/4 inch plywood, getting plumb, it was a little off from there to there. But then, at this point, I finally got everything even. That was my goal. And then somehow I got off track, and I don't know why I did just cut this one, you know, cut it shorter so it was all even, and then make corrections along the way. But my thinking is, you know, I'm not a civil engineer, obviously, but you know, every time you put a support further over, well, you're just putting more and more weight. I mean, there's a lot of weight, a lot of pressure, and this is, you know, there's forces that are pushing this down. So I'm like, well, you don't want to stagger, you'll keep on everything even. So, anyways, that's one thing I change. But again, overall, the Helix, yeah, I'm real happy with it. It runs great. Oh, by the way, this is my bus, my DCC bus. I only put DCC wires, my bus wires, just on one side. You know, about a 5-foot rotation. Or excuse me, 15-foot rotation. So I just put one bus wire, and it works out fine. You see, these are DCC. These are just for my reverse loops that are actually behind. I've got 2 reverse loops behind. This Coltrane sitting on a reverse loop. That's why you think he's dropping. He's actually level, and the Helix, of course, is going up. And then I got 1 more reverse loop. So these are just reversing, automatic reversing units. So, and then there's that other reversing track that goes behind her. Funny thing is, the one in the back, because I did not. That wasn't part of the design. I actually just put that in last year because I wanted to be able to run trains around my lower level and just reverse back around. I can run heck of long trains now. If you happen to see my newest video I'm going to put out, or just did put out. So, and that way I can do the same thing. This was pre-planned, putting this one, this reversing loop up on the upper level. So, and then I call my upper level, and then I call my top level. It's my 3rd level up here, so that's what I got going on up here by the window. So I mentioned in the paper on my part 1 is that each rise is exactly 4 inches, and I held to that. Each block is cut 3.5 inches. I just happen to see that's the bus wire that I use. 12 gauge bus and 20 gauge feeders. I happen to notice that right in there. So yeah, each one is 4 inches all the way down, so it's 3 foot. Increase in elevation, right on the money. Okay, so staggered joints is another thing that you really want to do. So initially there's no stagger. This is my very first piece of flex track going past that switch, and I built off of this right here. So each level I never cut one piece of rail or one piece of track. I just kept on sliding the rail. So as you can kind of see that the joints are staggered on each level after this a little bit, and it increases as you go up further and further. Like there's a joint, you can tell I just slid the rail, so oh, I got to backtrack way back here, so it's kind of in the dark, but it's right there. There's a joint. So that, God, that's a key to building a Helix, is make sure you stagger your joints. And I don't use row bit. I think I mentioned that. That just adds an extra 3/16 of an inch. I tack my track in with small little tacks. That way I can make simple changes. I just pop that tack out and I can rehammer it in using something to get in there and pound it back in. Well, I want to mention my blocks too. Again, each block is 3.5 inches cut. But there's a couple places, really about 4 places I think, where I had to make some minor adjustments. So what I did is I just wrote down, so I knew exactly where the changes are, what size those blocks are. Outside of that, they're all 3.5, and I'm gonna start back there at the reversing section here and spin around. Okay, so we'll just count them. So again, this is the first one, no glue, they're just all loose. These are glued. Number 2, number 3. Again, not glued. I can slide them around, or I can put them all lined up too. I don't know why I just kept them staggered. So number 3, this is number 4, number 5, looking like not glued, and of course any place there's a joint I glued them down. So that's number 5, and then we're back where we started. I want to mention too, when I initially designed this, 12 years ago or before. Started construction of this 12 years ago. I was going to put the dispatch panel in here, and that's why there's a little table set up here. And I opted not to do that. The last thing I want to do is I'm getting older, and other people don't want to have to crawl underneath things. I think it's crazy to crawl under something to get in a dispatch panel. when you don't need to. You know, if you're limited on room, then hey, that I understand. But I decide not to. But hey, it makes a great workbench, you know, putting stuff in there. Sometimes I come in here, and if I need to do something, like I recently, last year, I did that reverse loop, so I had to kind of get in here a little bit too. So it looks great for putting your tools. One other thing I wanted to mention is the weight of this structure. I can't even imagine how heavy it is. Already MDF is pretty heavy. But on this side, on my west wall here, it's all bolted into the wall, or excuse me, screwed into the wall with the 1x4, so it goes straight into the wall. And like I said, tons of weight. There's got a 1x4 here. I decided just on the opposite side, I used a 2x3. I want to use something heavy on the other side, so I don't have any problems. I got another 1x4 in the back as well, so you got to really consider weight, because I know this is really heavy. If I were to take it down, it'd be great to take it down as one piece, which wouldn't be too difficult, because I could open up the garage door and back up my pickup truck and somehow scoot it out. I didn't even think about that, but I could probably do that. I was thinking other ways I could tear off half of it. It's real easy to pop off, because, you know, my vertical supports, only 1/3 of them are glued, so, or 1/6 of them, I guess I should say, 1/6 are glued. And then of course these aren't glued. Okay, that's about it. I can't really think of anything else. So part 3, I'll just run some trains around and you can watch them circle around. It's kind of fun to get in here, and I don't come in here too much, other than maybe sometimes a clean track. Oh, by the way, cleaning track takes me about 10 minutes. I spin around. I call it pass the cloth. That's why I've got everything numbered, because I start spinning around, and I won't say I get dizzy, but I do get, I lose track of which track I just cleaned, so that's why everything's numbered, you know, 0 to, up on top, 0 to 9. But yeah, I just call it pass the cloth. I start at top. And they just, you know, with one hand, grab the cloth with the next hand. I can spin around. I got it down as far as spinning around pretty quick. And the less amount of support you got, it's going to make it a lot easier. You got to think about that too, is cleaning track, because you got a whole bunch of supports. You got to get in there and clean all that too. So, but yeah, like I said, it works out pretty good. I've only lost, you know, I haven't lost a car to the floor in years. I've lost, you know, some intermodal cars. I run those darn long cars and run too heavy a train, and sometimes they'll string line, and I lost a couple trailers off on my 2LC cars. The trailers have hit the ground, but for the most part, I haven't lost a car in years. But again, I would make this just a little bit wider. This is from here to here. That's 2 inches to the edge of the track. So I'd probably put an extra inch in there, and I think he'd be totally fine. But the supports also act as a grab hold too. If you stringline a train, it'll kind of grab, so the whole thing won't stringline right over. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Hopefully it gives you some information. You know, not to say you're building a Helix, but this is great. If you use heavy 3/4 wood, which I have on about half my layout, I love it. This is a great way to start your elevation. You know, you can just, this is forced down, and this is, you know, kind of pulled up right here. So down in this area, and it really nice smooth transition from going level to starting your incline. So that's about it. Hey, thanks for watching. Maybe see you guys on part 3. And David, BAC V signing out.